guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a super duper requested video. It is as good as a back to basics video. It is on how to conceal and correct your dark circles as well as the pigmentation on your face. Luckily, I suffer with a lot of dreaded dark circles and a lot of pigmentation around my mouth, so I can very well demonstrate it for you guys. In today's video, I am going to be correcting and concealing on one side of my face, and I'm going to be concealing only on the other side of my face to show you what it looks like and how correcting makes a difference. I do get a lot of questions asking how to conceal the under eye circles, how to correct under eye circles, what is the difference between the two, and how to combat creasing and things like that. So I have tried to show you all of that in this one video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up if you do like it. Definitely hit that notification bell so that you never miss a video from me, and do follow me on Instagram. I do a lot of mini tutorials and tips and tricks and things like that on there. So if you don't already, definitely do follow me on Instagram. Let's start. So to start off with, I always want to do my foundation first before I apply any concealer anywhere on my face. I have two reasons for that. One reason being that I feel like foundation does some of the work for you before you apply that concealer. Especially full coverage foundations, they will kind of hide your under eye circles to a certain extent, if not all the way, and then you just need to put that much more concealer on rather than packing a lot of concealer on before the foundation. The second reason is that if you put concealer under your foundation, I always feel like when you're buffing your foundation out, you kind of move the concealer around, which kind of takes away from what you're trying to do in the very first place. Which is why I always start off with foundation first and then apply the concealer. Before moving on, it is extremely important to prep your under eyes before you can go ahead and apply your foundation or concealer. To do so, you want to hydrate your under eyes with a super hydrating and brightening under eye cream. You want to do this before you start to apply your concealer and your foundation. I am using the Ola Hendrickson Banana Bright Eye Cream, which is supposed to go very well under makeup. So I'm just going to apply a thin layer of that and really work that into my skin before I start to apply. Now this step is extremely important, especially if you find that your under eyes are creasing, the concealer isn't staying on, it's budging, it's cracking. This is a super important step to do. Now I'm quickly going to go ahead and apply my foundation off camera, and I will be right back. So I just thought I'd show you this, that when you're applying your foundation, you want to go ahead and apply it all over your dark circles. You want to go ahead and apply it on your under eyes like you would, like you're creating basically an even base on your entire face, even though you're going to be applying concealer after. So as you can see, just applying the foundation has done half of the work itself. It has covered a lot of the under eyes. The grayness is showing through, but we're going to correct that right away. So today I'm going to be working with the LA Girl Pro Conceal Concealer and Corrector. The concealer is in the shade Medium Beige and the corrector is the Orange Corrector, using just the concealer. A little bit about correction. What it does is just basically neutralizes the gray or the bluish or the purplish tones that you have on your under eye circles, or even for that matter anywhere on your face, like for example around your mouth, on your forehead where you have darkness or you have pigmentation. What it does is basically it neutralizes it out. You cannot only use a corrector. There are some correctors that are very peachy as well, that once you apply on your face, they disappear into your skin. You can't see them, but that is not where you're supposed to stop. You always have to apply a concealer on top of the corrector. So starting off with this eye right here, I'm going to be using a corrector to first correct my under eyes, and then I'm going to be concealing on top of that. I'm going to be using such a dark corrector for the very first time. I usually use something like this that is a lot more peachier as compared to something that is so orange. Also, I forgot to tell you, there are a lot of different correctors in the market. The orange one specifically is to combat gray or blue or purple under eye circles. The green corrector, on the other hand, is used to combat redness on your face. So if you have a lot of redness showing through, then that is when you would apply a green corrector. So now enough of blabbing, let's get right into the demo. I'm going to start to apply it right where I have all of that grayness on my under eyes, in this area as well. You want to make sure you don't apply this too much to areas that don't have any grayness, because then it's just going to look orange and you're going to have to do extra work in concealing those areas. So just going to apply that around my mouth as well, where I have a lot of grayness right here. And that's about it for now. So I'm going to start to use my fingers and I'm going to start to kind of just blend this corrector into my skin. You want to make sure you blend it out well. You want to make sure it doesn't just sit there, and especially working it in with your fingers kind of helps you like melt that corrector into your skin. So when you're using a corrector, this is basically step 3 after hydration and foundation. So you have basically corrected your under eyes. You have neutralized those gray purple undertones that your dark circles have. And the next step that you want to do, step 4, is to now conceal. So I'm going to go ahead with medium beige, which is very close to my skin tone, and I'm going to start to apply it over where we applied the corrector. So I'm just going to start to apply it all over my dark circles. Kind of pull it lower. Take it into this area as well. Now to blend out this concealer, I'm not going to be using my fingers because I want everything very well blended in, and I find that sometimes when I use my fingers, it kind of just moves everything around rather than really blend everything in and giving it a super flawless finish. So I'm going to be using this sponge that I have from NYX Cosmetics to blend all of this in. Let's see what that looks like. So you do want to kind of take your time blending this into your skin. You want to make sure everything is super duper well blended. And there you go, it's looking very even toned. You want to make sure you blend out all of the edges, and just to take a step back and just see the grayness isn't coming through because of the corrector. I do have a little line showing through here, but that's just a natural line that I have, and to combat that is the max that what I can do is to apply a little bit more concealer just right on that line right there, and to just kind of very lightly blend it out. I am literally using the lightest pressure to blend this. I'm not beating my face really hard, and what that will do is basically give you maximum coverage, basically keep the concealer in place rather than the beauty blender really soaking that up. So now that I'm done blending my under eyes, what I'm gonna do is blend this out around my mouth. Now that I'm done with the concealing bit of it and I'm looking at myself up close and personal, I am looking a little peachy on this side, but I'm okay with that just because if I had not used the corrector, my dark circles I'm pretty sure would have come through, just because this concealer is not a very peachy concealer. The tone of this concealer is very yellowish, so it's not going to do anything to correct my circles at all. And what I can do about this peachiness right here is to basically apply a compact powder that is very close to my skin tone, and it's going to even everything out right away. Before moving on to the next step, that is setting the concealer that we've just applied, I'm going to be moving on to this eye and conceal using only the concealer. So the same thing, all we do is skip the corrector, start to apply the concealer on the under eye circles and a little bit below, and apply it on the insides as well, making sure to cover all of that darkness and pigmentation. So now that it's set, I'm going to go ahead, use the same sponge and very lightly blend that concealer into my skin. And the same thing on this side, just trying to cover this line right here, applying a little bit more concealer just to that area and blending everything out. So I can already tell by looking far off into the mirror that this side my dark circles are coming through a lot more, and I'm sure it's being caught on screen as well. It is looking quite grey under my eyes just because I didn't correct. So before I talk more, it's already been a while to this eye and I want to move on to the next step before it starts creasing. This next step is basically setting the concealer with a setting powder or a compact powder. Today I'm going to be using the MAC Studio Fix. This is another extremely essential step step that as soon as you apply your concealer and your corrector, or just your concealer, you need to set your under eyes ASAP. Now you can either do this by just lightly brushing a setting or a compact powder on top of your under eyes, or you can do this by baking. Today I'm not going to bake, I'm just going to simply use a compact powder and set my under eyes. You can take your powder brush, or you can take the sponge that it comes with and just press the setting powder into your place. Very, very important, do not swipe. It is going to move your concealer around and it's not going to set well. So just set it very well by using patting motions. And you want to make sure you want to set everywhere that you have concealed and not just on your under eyes. And while using patting motions, also make sure that your pressure that you're applying is to the minimal. Another thing you want to make sure is that you don't over powder your under eyes using any of these compact powders, because the thing is with these powders, they are powder foundations and they are meant to have extra coverage. They are meant to really set it in. They are what professionals use. So you want to make sure that you do not want to over powder this area, or it's going to just end up looking super dry and going to crease and going to crack once again. Just when you start to feel that it's starting to look matte is when you want to stop powdering your face. So I'm just going to stay like this and talk to you. I'm looking like a white ghost, but this is where the contouring and bronzing and highlighting comes in, and that is what kind of gives the shape and dimension and color to your face. But this is what just concealing your under eyes and pigmentation on your face would look like. If I had used the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer as compared to the LA Girl Pro Concealer, the difference would have been that with this concealer, I would not have to use a corrector necessarily under my eyes, because it already has peachy undertones built into the concealer itself. On the other hand, the Medium Beige, which is the most perfect color for my skin tone, has more yellowish undertones and does not have peachy undertones in the concealer itself, which is why using a corrector with this concealer helps a lot more as compared to not using a corrector, because the grayness will come through and show a lot more when you're not using a corrector with a yellowish undertoned concealer. But as you saw, correcting and concealing is not as difficult as it sounds. It is honestly super easy. Just a few points that you need to make sure of is that you don't overlayer your corrector. You don't overlayer your concealer as well. And what I mean by that is basically you do not want to put too much at one go. Start off with a little less and then you can just build on as and when you need. So that is it, guys. That is how I correct and conceal my under eye circles and the pigmentation on my face. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this helps you all. If you all have any questions, then definitely do let me know in the comments below and I will be happy to answer them. Bye.